Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Roleplay Podcast, the incredibly creative name for our show where we talk about roleplay because we're all too lazy to actually roleplay. So today we have another episode of sort of our ongoing series that we call Noobs of NoPixel, where we talk to people who are basically new in 4.0. And today we have Geega. Geega?
Yes. Hello. It's me.
And of course, we're also brought by our co-host coming to you guys circa his 2006 Facebook webcam, Ssaab.
Thank you so much. Work in progress on my webcam, by the way. Don't worry. Okay, I'm working on it. I have a subathon coming up. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool. I mean, so we've taken a little bit of a break for everyone coming in who are new to Roleplay Podcast. This is it's our podcast to talk about all things roleplay, kind of, avoid the drama going on and hopefully get things, give people kind of a nice perspective into things behind the scenes, role players' motivation, stuff like that. But for this one particularly, I'm actually excited. So when we've done News of NoPixel before, Geega, we've had multiple people on. This time, you are our only guest.
Yeah.
I think it is safe to say you've had kind of a crazy impact with 4.0 and all that.
Have I?
Ssaab, if you are talking, you're muted. To start us off, how'd you get into NoPixel and roleplay? What's the origin story?
Okay. So I knew nothing about GTRP. Absolutely nothing. I only knew Buddha's name because I had seen him at like a Streamer Awards one year winning, and I was like, oh, cool. And I looked at his channel, watched a minute, and went, oh, that's what he does. Cool. That was it. Never saw clips. Didn't have any friends that I like was aware that they were doing a lot of this. I have friends that have been on the server, but just hadn't happened upon their streams when they're doing it. So in my mind, I was totally separate from it. At some point, actually, my Twitch partnerships manager is like, hey, new round of NoPixel, new server. I was told to contact you and people from my group, VShojo, which is like a VTuber group similar to like OTK or OTV content group like that, but just VTuber focused. And she just put out the offer to anyone in our group and was like, hey, we'd love to, give you an invite. And I said, I mean, yeah, why not? Because I used to do a lot of D&D. So the idea of role playing to me is like not cringe. I'm very used to going magic mythal, or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I'll try it. Why not? And I put in the application and got in. And day one, I played it off stream because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I read the rules, but I'm going to do something that's like totally not okay.
Wait,
so
you read the rules?
I did. I read all of the rules.
That's better than 90% of the role players. So
yeah.
I'm kidding.
I noticed.
Admin Ssaab, that was a joke.
Uh-huh.
How many points for power gaming?
I want to say 3. Is that a level C? Is that a level B, C? I don't know.
I think she's right.
I think it's marked as C.
Wait.
Yeah, power gaming.
Pause. What? What is it? When did you guys come up with? There's like you guys like have like a misdemeanor offense and like a felony offense. Like
there is
they're
basically,
categorized.
right?
They're in buckets.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you do these things, it's a level A, which is like a 1 day, right? And then like this thing, I read it because I was like, my people in my chat when I told them I'm going to try it, they were like, oh my god. You have to read the rules because if you don't follow the rules of RP and the server, you're going to get banned. And I was like, I'm sure they'd understand if I'm a little new and I'm learning, but they're like, no, you have to. So
can someone link the rules in chat or Ssaab? Can you link?
Yeah.
I need to look at these rules real quick.
Forum.
The one thing I like a lot about people that do come from like different spaces in Twitch, especially like VTubers, they're very respectful. Like they come in there, they take the rules very seriously, they roleplay their butt off. They're very respectful, and they just want to add more to the community. They're not trying to come in there and, make it about themselves and then get banned and then go away, right? So that is one thing that I really appreciate and respect about new role players, especially ones that come from like a different background of RP.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Is everything is everything is pre-established. Most people that I'm interacting with day to day have so much history there. They know each other. They know how things work. I don't know any of that because again, I came in so fresh. I specifically made sure that I actually when I knew I was going to get onto the server, I decided to not watch clips and to not learn any lore, so that when I'm playing a character who's new to the city, I also OOC am completely new to everything as well. So
Right, you're immersed in that way.
yeah, I think that helps that character kind of make a lot of sense. Because if I meet a character who's like some big gang leader and is very powerful, and I don't know who they are genuinely, that's hilarious. Like that's a unique interaction. But if I watch a lot of clips of them, I might accidentally like revere them a little bit, or you know what I mean, like
Right,
be a little wary.
or be a bit nervous going into it because you know what kind
Mhm.
of character figure you're dealing with, but you
Yeah,
don't really know that, but you know that, right? So I can see that.
yeah,
Or it's even
exactly,
like
exactly.
I think sometimes it also like lets people kind of almost play with like perfect information. That it's like
Mhm.
it's like a very weird soft meta, but it's like if you interact with this character and don't know anything about them and how you like choose your words,
Yeah,
right? Whereas like you know a lot about that character, you're not gonna meta as in like be like, yo, here's the key to the meth lab, but like
yeah,
you're gonna be like it might subtly influence how you talk to them.
hmm
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
um, Giga,
Yeah.
multiple characters from the same player in one gang and group. What category of offense is this? A, B, C, or D?
I don't know. I want to say it's not even in a category and it's just discouraged, but it might be like
It
a
is. It
C.
is. It is not allowed.
It is, yeah,
It
yeah.
is
I
a
know, I
straight up
know it's,
rule.
yeah. Is it, was it given a level?
It's given a level.
It's given a level? C.
Incorrect. It was
Damn it.
B.
What was it?
It,
B.
it was B.
I was
Well, I
leaning
mean,
B. I
you're.
was leaning B.
What is even? Okay.
There's a legend at the bottom that
There's
tells
Yeah,
you
yeah,
what
there's
one.
A,
There's.
B, C,
level.
and D.
I only see
Hmm
one that's even categorized as C.
Yeah, well, you gotta do a lot.
No, there's a
Oh,
D.
okay.
Metagaming is a D.
Oh no. I see a few that are
Mm.
D. Um.
There's a C. I only see
Okay.
one as a C though. That's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I read them. I read them.
I
And
did
there's a
not. This
disclaimer
is.
at the bottom
This
about
is.
how nice the community should be.
Yes, that the RP
Mission
etiquette and
statement.
decency and respect,
Mhm.
Sab, we
big
need to
time.
talk. I have broke a lot of these. I'm not gonna lie. I have one character that I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure violates like 3 of these.
Well, see, there is role play and then there's role play, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're all here about is roleplay. So I have a question. Sorry, away from now all the rules stuff.
Yeah.
I have a very specific question for you, and we're gonna
Okay.
jump all over, but there's like a few that I have
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
answered. You are a VTuber. People were wondering. Someone in chat even asked, and some people I know. First of all, I want to
Yeah.
know what is VShojo. But then my specific roleplay
Hmm.
question after that is it weird that in a way you kind of roleplay as a VTuber, like as your VTuber character, and
Right.
then
hmm
you're now role playing a character. I realized this. This was my shower thought I had this morning. The
Yeah.
character you play in game is actually more human like than like
hmm
your VTuber. Like you're actually playing something that's closer
Yes.
to us than your VTuber model. I have no idea where to
Exactly.
go with that, but speak on that.
I'll start yapping. I mean, so to back up to the first thing, which is like, what is VShojo, right? I'll start with what is a VTuber, right? A VTuber
Ooh.
is just anyone creating any content out of a character, and the person plays the character. But a lot of the time, it goes into types of content that are much more personal and casual, like streaming, where you're talking to people constantly. Because typically, if you're playing a character that's animated, you are a voice actor and you're reading something scripted. You're not doing a lot of live content. You're doing a short film and you're acting as them, stuff like that. Mocap stuff that you know is going to be edited. But the difference with VTubers, the tuber comes from YouTuber because originally a lot of them used to stream on YouTube. A lot of the Japanese
Right.
VTubers do.
hmm
The idea is that you're doing a lot of live content, but as an animated character. And not every VTuber treats it as I have to be a character. A lot of the time, they are truly just being themselves. They break immersion. They're like talking about their hair type, which doesn't look anything like what you see on the screen, you know, because they're just making you very aware that they're a human in a room sitting there talking to a mic. And then there are other ones that are 100% in character. And they're like, I'm a fox girl, and they start making fox noises. And you know what I mean? Like
what does the fox say?
I don't even know. I've heard some weird things in my time as a VTuber.
Thank you, Ssaab, for that interjection of like a 2015 song.
Very good.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, I don't know.
Excellent contribution to the podcast, Ssaab.
Thank you.
Wait, so I have a question then, Geega. From your let's stay on the topic of VTubers.
Mm-hmm.
Are role players who don't play with cam, are they not just VTubers?
I say to my chat all the time that I think it is almost exactly the same thing. The difference is that they're in a pre-built world environment interacting with other people, like a server, you know, instead of just being loose streaming, making whatever content. But it's the same. It's essentially the same. A lot of it depends, because like I said, some VTubers are just completely being themselves and expressing themselves through the model, but for the most part, you know, what they're saying, what they're doing, it's all their own opinion. It's not affected by, ooh, I have to be in character. And then there are others that will like completely adjust parts of their personality to fit a character. So it's really there's a huge spectrum of that, and the viewers just kind of gravitate toward, you know, whatever they prefer.
Well, one thing I've always thought is like, I feel like a lot of, correct if I'm wrong, a lot of VTubers, it's kind of like the character they play. It's like this is aspirational, or like a cool. It's like, oh, it's me, but as like a cool anime girl with a fucking rocket launchers on her back, some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
In a similar way, a lot of GTA people feel, and I think self-insert is used as like a negative term. I think as a better term, it's like it's their imagination within the GTA world.
Yeah, I see it as like an amplified expression of themselves. Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, people do that. They kind of play, you know, even down to the character model, what is kind of like, oh, this is what I like, you know, would aspire to look like in the world of GTA.
Right. Because I mean, you could see it with any game anyone plays. They go into the character creator, and a lot of people tend to gravitate towards something. Like someone might always make characters that are blonde. They tend to go for longer hair, whatever. You usually make like some similar characters to each other for most people. And you know, if someone becomes a VTuber or makes a GTA character, they're probably going to do that again. And it's just an expression, whether it's like who they think they are or just things that they like. It's a mix of both. And they just do that. It's rare that someone plays a game, makes a character. They're not streaming, you know, and they make some like really funny, weird character, and they're gonna like in their head role play. Is that like people don't do that? They're usually just expressing something that they like or that is in them in a way.
Yeah, I was thinking about this recently about like a James Randall. Like I feel like James Randall is like, you make that for like content, not, you know.
Right.
Not to be James Randall, is it? Right.
Yeah. James Randall is like much more purely like a VTuber in a way, where you made a character and you are just acting as that. Everything you're doing, saying, the way you're sounding is for the sake of the character.
You just become the character, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there an example of a VTuber where like, oh, this is very much like more of like a character driven VTuber?
A very popular, well-known. There's actually a duo named Fuamoko. And they are from Hololive, which is like one of the very, very large Japanese-owned VTuber groups. They're two dogs. They're two dogs from like the abyss, the underworld, the whole kind of thing, right? And they like bark. They do a whole voice, everything. They have like all these little bits that they do that are just super in character.
Why is she saying Babu?
Babu, that's them.
Oh, Babao?
That's their little like bark thing. And their chat kind of gets into it, just like types it.
That's funny.
And it is like they're on, you know, they're not 100% always doing a big character. It's more like there's a difference between being in character and staying on brand, right? I would say most VTubers more so stay on brand, which is like the way I am, but not necessarily like the things that they're saying. Sometimes they say stuff where you're like, this is a bit and it's cute and I'm with it. And then other times they say stuff and you're like, yeah, they're just talking. They're just streamers hanging out, you know? But they always do it with a voice, and they always do it in a way, you know? Yeah. You see like the amount of characterization when you watch like clips of them.
Yeah.
Some VTubers are more like this. And, you know, there's a market that loves that because they want the characterization. They want to feel like they're watching a show, you know, like that, rather than just a streamer in their room hanging out, chilling, you know? And they tend to actually do shorter streams. A lot of the people that are highly characterized like this on average they do a shorter stream and they just kind of let it all out within like 2-3 hours.
They exert so much amount of energy, probably.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, if they're barking, I mean, I can only imagine what they're doing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And the good news is there's 2 of them and they tend to stream together. So one will be playing the game and concentrating. The other one's like almost commentating and helping them bounce off. Because being fully in character and playing a game and entertain your chat and like it's so much mentally. So them doing it together, I think, kind of enables them to keep up for like 3 hours. You know.
Someone in chat said basically Dr. Disrespect, but anime girls.
Yes, I would say Dr. Disrespect is very much like a fleshy version of a VTuber when I watch him.
Actually, yeah, he is like a flesh tuber. It's funny you mentioned.
Well, yeah, he plays the character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned it was funny because when you mentioned them, you're like, oh, like yeah, it's like these 2 girls and they're both dogs, and I forgot the number 1 rule of when someone tells me about a VTuber, which is like, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's like 2 dogs, and I always have to remember it's an anime girl. That is then a dog. Someone's like, oh yeah, like I'm a VTuber and I'm like a sea anemone, deep sea jellyfish, and then like I'll like click on their shit, just
and it's a girl,
anime girl with like a jellyfish tentacle hair, and I'm like, oh, got it, noted.
Usually it is that. There are some VTubers that are straight up just some little cute animal in the corner of the screen, like that happens too, and I actually think those are some of my favorites because. There's just more expression through it because it's seen less, people get really creative with it, but most of them, it's like anime girl or sometimes it's very American cartoon style as well, but it's usually like some girl, some guy with features of the thing that they're supposed to be.
Okay, well, I mean, I have to segue this. We can keep going on the VTuber stuff because actually it's some of the stuff we don't know about, but I am curious now, speaking of character Gigi, so what's the origin of Gigi? How did this character come about? What's her story?
Yeah. So obviously I'm a demon from the underworld, but people say that often, depending on what I'm talking about, sometimes I have a bit of like a Brooklyn-esque accent and I might sound Italian American. Yeah. So I said, why not play a character that's much like that? Seems pretty natural. So I made her because I figured it'd be pretty easy for me to play. It's it just kind of makes a lot of sense for me.
Are you from Brooklyn? Do you naturally have a Brooklyn accent or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the way I speak when I'm speaking to people that don't have an accent, my accent normalizes a lot. But then if I call my mother, I full Brooklyn. And I actually started off the character having a heavier accent, and I couldn't keep it up because so many of the characters in the server don't have accents. It's hard for me to just keep doing it when I'm trying to organize stuff in our basement. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not doing like a big bit all the time. So it kind of fell off. And then a lot of the people that play Italians, no offense to them on the server, their accents are completely wrong. Like it does not sound like a New York accent to me. So I'm like, I appreciate your effort, but it's hard for me to get into it. And then someone comes in and says something and I'm like, that's not the A sound,
Okay, who has
that was my question. I was gonna ask her who has a really good accent in your opinion.
Ooh, depending on what mood he's in and what kind of scene it is, I would say the character Luciano is actually pretty good. Occasionally he overdoes it and it's like the accent is just all wrong, but you could tell he's doing it to be funny, so it's okay. And then his brother Vito DiCenzo is pretty natural, pretty good and realistic. Definitely not Tony, but it's really funny. So it's fun.
You should. So here's the thing: when I first started roleplaying with Tony back in 2017, I'm not sure if you saw it in the clips or the YouTube videos, but he had a really good Italian accent. He kind of got away from it a little bit because it was killing his voice. But he had a really good accent in the beginning. It was really good.
He started off because he was one of the first characters I met, and we could talk about that later. But he started off 4.0, getting back into the heavy accent because he changed. He was like old Tony, right? Now he's old. He's only supposed to have aged 5 years, but he looks like his ID card says he's 38, but he talks like he's 60 something. Yeah, he's 38 in character. But so he's talking and he sounds like he's chain smoked for 20 years. He's using it's closer to his real voice, but he just makes it more gravelly, lower. And
what's going on? Yeah, it's not like that.
What's going on? But it used to be
what's going on there, boys?
That was
like higher pitch, the Duckers one.
that was
Yeah.
3.0, but like I said, before NoPixel even SOE other servers, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of clips. I think he's one of the people where I have seen more of his older content because he was like, the first major character that I was like doing a lot of stuff with, interacting with a lot. So people from his chat were like, you have to watch this clip. You have to watch this compilation. Oh, this moment was great. So I've seen a lot of like Tony compilations, Yeah, so I've heard it change over time. I heard a lot of clips from the end of 3.0 where he basically had like little to no voice. It's still the accent, but he wasn't really
Zoomer Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you see it's evolved and everything, but I think the fact that his accent isn't exactly accurate is really funny. So I actually wouldn't want him to like change it and try to make it perfectly accurate like Brooklyn or something. It's better this way in my opinion.
Yeah. Accents are hard. I was doing literally 2 days ago, I was doing a Russian accent, and then one of the dudes from the BBMC started talking to me in Australian. I play another character that. So here's the thing: the Russian accent's super easy because I've played enough with Ray C, who plays Ray Romanoff, and that is also another funny discussion we've had on the podcast before about accents. Ray C developed a Russian accent. Like sometimes we'll be we'll be hanging out with him, and like Ray Romanoff will sneak in, and we'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Good over here,
Habibi. Well, you
Habibi.
But we this Australian accent's been hard. I've been trying to learn, and it was awful at first. It's gotten better, but I nailed the Russian accent day one, and then one of the fuckers from BBMC started talking to me. I think it's Bon actually, and I slipped into an Australian accent like mid sentence, like just hearing it. So accents are tough.
So hard. It's really, really difficult. I find that
I wish I could do them.
It's hard. A lot of people just straight up can't do them. They try and it just doesn't come out, but it's because it takes so much practice. And people that are usually good at accents, they've been doing it since they were a kid. They would see a character on TV and they'd be like, parroting it. People just have like years of impression behind them usually if they're good at accents.
And I think it's also like, I think accents and stuff like that are also just, they're kind of like an over the top way of like making something a character and differentiating it.
Yeah.
Ssaab, do you ever struggle? Does it ever piss you off that people will like just say that like Slacks is just
100%? Oh God! I mean, I've tried to add fluctuation. I've tried to add pitches. I've tried to add more deepness into the voice. But obviously, I have such a unique voice that you can't really get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ssaab voice always comes out.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard to hide certain aspects.
Geega, I was gonna ask. So you mentioned Tony. So how did that? Yep. How did that like start? Like, how did that arc start for your character, Gigi? So you join NoPixel. You run into what is arguably a legendary character within NoPixel. What happens? Where do you go from there?
So I was just running around. I had no idea what my purpose was, what I should be doing. I was just walking around like learning the UI, right? Like where do I get food? Things like that. I go to the gas station in Little Seoul next to the apartments. I like run to it because, no one has cars or anything. I go there and I'm walking in and, Tony's sitting there. I think I was in a rental car sitting outside of it. And I was going to be there when I saw him, but he walks past and he does, hey, how you doing? As he walks past, he's just like saying hi to everyone. I was like, hey, what's going on? And I say it in like, an accent. He goes, you Italian? He turns around. He's like, you're Italian? And I start, talking to him and I'm like, yeah, it might be. And, we introduce and everything. And he immediately is like, take my number, and I do. So,
that was the icebreaker right there.
Yeah. It was just talking to each other and hearing that we were both playing like Italian characters. We go, okay, perfect. So exchange numbers. And then he goes off, does something, I do something. A little bit later that day, I think I was doing grime. I was like trying to figure out, okay, I need money. Let's see, day one, everyone is just like rushing to do little jobs and stuff. So I go and do a grime run and I see him down there because he was also doing grime. And he was like, yeah, we should do grime together. And I was like, yeah. And then it didn't happen. He just kept getting pulled away by all these other characters. And I was like, oh, this must be someone, I guess. And I wasn't streaming this the first day too. I was just like, I guess this is like somebody because his phone is blowing up and like everyone who sees him is like, oh my God, Tony, So I was like, okay. And then I'm streaming the next day. I'm doing grime runs, and we keep running into each other at the docks every time we bring the van back. And at some point, my van breaks down, and I'm stuck at the little delivery area, and I'm just standing there. basically just podcasting, because I'm just waiting for some other grime driver to come up so I can like hop in their vehicle. And Tony is the one that pulls up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like leaning against the van, and we're like, "Oh my god, faithful encounter!" And we started doing grime, and then it just became like we both realized that we both talk a lot about whatever, and his chat and my chat were like super excited to just watch us talk, because I didn't know this at first, but a lot of people in my chat actually had watched a lot of GTRP before this. So my chat was so excited for me to meet Tony, and they were like, I guess like they were trying to not spoiler for me, or do anything. They were just like letting it happen, but they were like, you should go on grime runs with him, that would be great. They're trying to not say anything, but it was like what they wanted. They thought would be funny. And that was it. We just like did grime a whole bunch. And then I don't know, over time, as I was trying to figure out what to do with myself, if I wanted to keep playing, because I played for like a week at that point, he just started recruiting me, and he was like, I think you should join whatever I'm doing. I don't really know yet, but you should join it. I was like, okay. And there we go. And that's how I got linked up with him and Buddha and Harry and, all them.
Which is crazy, because so now I'm kind of curious. It feels like you had some idea of your character going in. Now, like where you are now, like where is Gigi? Like what is this? Where's this character's inspiration? Like what inspires you to play the character now, and like what's the character about now?
So a lot of my past work before I was streaming is in business, in tech. I had a whole lengthy career before I started streaming. I'm not in my 20s. So I, had this whole thing going on where I worked with numbers a lot. I worked with business, I worked with logistics, all of that. And I saw an opportunity because I was looking at how that crew was kind of running things. And I was talking to, the character Lang about how he wanted things to be very businessy, and he was like, everyone's like running around like gangbangers, and I want to make something that feels more like a mafia, which is very integrated with the police, very integrated with, business and all this, appearing clean in some certain ways, applying pressure to people in the background, He was like, I want to do that kind of stuff. And, out of character, I could tell he just wanted to do that kind of RP. So I was like, this is perfect for me, because that is what I do. I wanted to play a character that probably fell into some crime, but really enjoy this kind of stuff in general and am good at it. So I was like, okay, what real world knowledge here can I apply through my character to make this stuff run well? So that's what I was doing. So at first they had Speedy as their accountant when I first got in there. Treasurer. They don't like that word. Treasurer.
That's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, actually, he wasn't good at explaining what was in his books, but his books were airtight. They were actually really good. He knew what he was doing.
Well, that's the problem with Speedy, right? Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, once he had to express it, it was just all over the place. But he could hand you a book, and the book was correct, So he was doing it for a bit, and of course, all the characters yelling at him constantly, like you're cooking the books, everything's messed up, you're the worst. And he's like, you know what, fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore. I want to be the warlord. We need a treasure. And I had said to Buddha, or my character said to Lang, if you need help with numbers, logistics, whatever, that is what I am good at. Just let me know if there's anything I could do there. So he immediately was like, you're the treasurer. Didn't even have me, do anything to like audition to say why I would be good at it. I just said, I want to do this. And he went, okay, because he does that for people, and
it gives you an opportunity.
Exactly. Especially if you're newer, he tends to like really want to do that and offer that. So he went, all right, and handed books and said, you're in charge of the money now. Everything goes through you. And so then my character became the person who set up like everything logistically and business-wise for our crew. So everyone will report their numbers to her by a certain time, a certain day. Everything that she has reported in by that point throws into an automated spreadsheet and calculates a percentage cut for everyone based off of what part of the pipeline they do. So weed grower gets this much, person pushing the weed gets this much, finalized amount is how we calculate all of that. I can look at like the inventory. If someone took out 200 bags, I know what that should sell for. And we know 200 bags went out because one of the people above them hands it to them. So if they don't bring back enough money, we can be like, okay, well, where is it? Right?
Yeah,
It's like a relatively airtight system, and it makes for a lot of fun RP because then, you know, if a character's trying to snake, do something, they want to make a little extra money, we know so fast and we catch them out on it. And then there's a lot of arguing between my character and like the dons, the heads of everything, where we're constantly trying to say these people should get this much, no, these people should get that much, and it's just really funny watching them bicker over. They're basically arguing for all of the other characters. Like, no, they do this amount of work, so they should get more of a cut. Like all of that, like business arguing RP is actually really fun, and I think there's not a lot of it on the server right now, especially. So it feels unique in that way, and that's kind of where my character has inserted herself.
Yeah, to that. I used to do a little bit more of that RP. Thankfully,
Yeah.
I have dodged that.
What happened?
That was
I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay. That was like literally one of the reasons I didn't want to be in the company. I can't do like it's no, but it's actually really funny. You and I have my chat and communities don't actually believe that I have worked real jobs or do any of this, but you and I have a similar thing where I also came from traditional like a desk job working as a game developer, and I even remember in 3.0 doing stuff with Cerberus and Laying Buddha giving me a chance to do stuff with Cerberus, and I hated it. For me it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like if I'm not getting paid real money to do this shit, I will not fucking do this. Like I could not do it.
I get that. See, for me,
I mean, you are getting paid real money. Think about it, right? Because it's content that produces money.
True. As long as they like it.
I'll send you my consulting rate, Ssaab.
Okay, all right, got you.
Anyways, but it's also interesting because I think what you do for a crew like that is everyone talks about like, oh, there's like a driver, there's shooters, there's hackers. The person who holds down the logistics, that's the key to a crew. I actually think
the glue.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
the real glue.
It's true because when I talk to other characters about what's going on with all their stuff, everyone's a mess. Everyone's just all over the place. There's so much drama over things that should have been so easy to figure out instead of drama over like someone really trying to do something, right? Everyone thinks everyone's trying to snake or whatever, and it's just like they dropped money in the wrong spot on the floor, you know, things like that. So I find that I like that my characters, I don't want her to fix too much though. There are times where people are arguing in front of me about something that I know the answer to, and I'll have her just not speak up. Even though I know, like, yeah, because my character's too much of a fixer otherwise, I think, right? Like she comes in and just fixes everything, and then there's like no conflict. So a lot of me playing my character is me standing there and not talking. Yeah.
Right. You have to let the spice flow a little bit, or else it gets too stagnant.
Exactly. And, you know, playing a character where the other characters look to her to fix things, because it's not just her being the treasure. She's basically HR. She's the reason why Marty and Larry stayed with the crew, because they were thinking of leaving and there was all this drama, and she went in and fixed that just socially, just recovered everything and kind of motivated them to stay. It was a moment where I was like, I could just choose not to do this and their characters probably would straight up leave. So
do you think you play her as like a high EQ like character, like who knows like kind of how to like work through social situations?
For sure. I think it'd be really hard for me to play a character that isn't that, to be honest, because that's how I normally am. So I decided to make it part of the character. But I added in a level of, because I personally, OOC, will fix things like this for my friends all the time. Someone's having an issue with someone else, and I'm like, do you want me to step in? Because I can, and I just squash stuff for people. What I do with the character is I have her be tired of it, you know, because I personally am really patient, but I have the character like not want to fix everything for everyone because she gets frustrated or is like, you have to pay me for this, you know, or something like that. And that's kind of a good excuse to not always like step in and fix everything, even though I feel like everyone knows the character just could. And it's to the point where when characters are arguing over something stupid, a misunderstanding that needs to be just talked through, and the communications are just not there, their chat will be spamming, "Save us, Gigi, save us." And it'll just be like flooding the chat. They're like, "Where's Gigi?" Especially if I'm not playing in that moment. It's like they're crying and they're like, "Please, someone get her to log in, please."
From the sound of it, at the end of the, you know, whatever's going to happen, you're going to be running the gang, okay? Or the criminal syndicate.
It's slowly getting there. I think early on there are 5 dons and they all vote on big decisions, right? So odd number, whatever. At some point, Tony wasn't around and they needed to do a major vote that day, and they were just like, Gigi, come here. You're going to be the 5th vote. And she was brought into, the conversation with the Dons. It was given the power to just cast a vote, which was like a big deal because they didn't want anyone in those conversations or whatever. Then they started pulling her into meetings, and they're like, well, she's the treasurer, she holds the money, so we have to consult her on these things. And she basically is a Don in practice, but tries to not overstep, tries to leave it alone, and just ends up doing a lot of that same work anyway. It's kind of like her and Lang and Speedy doing everything, to be honest.
I'm really glad that you fell into those kind of fell in with those role players like Buddha and Zatark and Speedy and those guys. Obviously, I'm missing some names as well. I mean, because the things you're doing today, we dreamt about like 7 years ago when we started role playing, when we talked about criminal syndicates and having people at the top, and you have these mob bosses that have their own group of people that have their own turfs that talk to each other, and you have the head of boss that come to a table and everybody has a vote on the table. I mean, we dreamt of that, and to hear you talk all about it is pretty cool. So
yeah, I could tell going into it that was kind of like what especially from Buddha himself, I could tell he was trying so hard to push things in that direction, and the other guys wanted to as well, but just weren't sure how to, so he was trying to set up structure, put characters in little roles and things, and then me stepping in and be able to kind of set up the logistics for that so it actually functions helped, because you can put characters in roles and say, this is your title, whatever. They don't know what to do with that. You need someone kind of telling them exactly how this all works from a logistics standpoint, because if you tell someone you're in charge of this guy, that is too vague. You need specifics of here's how you handle things. They're going to report like the numbers. They're going to report their numbers each week to you. You're going to hand out the bags. So we have inventory. You're going to write down in this book the inventory, right? So like me giving them those specifics makes it so that whole system can happen, because those guys are just not going to do that on their own without someone at least laying it out. Like an outline.
They're just gonna pump and dump the product.
Yeah, exactly. So that's been. I'm glad I was able to help with that, because I think if I didn't step in and do those logistics, they would try sort of like the mafia structure, and it would devolve, I think, into like normal.
No, you're the glue. You're the glue. If you leave, it's over.
Yeah.
So,
which is scary.
and I've in 3.0 I role played a lot with Buddha, and Buddha is I think Buddha is second to none in establishing a kind of like direction for a group or project. He's really good at different ones.
Yeah.
Whether it was like Cerberus or like the Clean Boys or like whatever it is, he sets a very good like, even if he like rejects being the full on like leader, he at least sets the example of like what the vibe is going to be and like what you're pushing towards. So I love how you've fit in with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a good
I'm
time.
jealous.
I think,
I'm really jealous.
Join us now.
I can't.
I know. I know. I think it's come home. Oh my god, everyone's spamming come home about like every character in my chat or in other chats. And I see it a lot where people are like, come home. And I think it's really cool to want to see your boys back together, the thing that you liked watching. But like, it's really cool to have the opposite too, to see people trying new things and getting thrown into new dynamics. And I arguably like that. I think that's better. Way better.
I am with you on this take 100%. I'm very anti come home. I'm very much make something new. And then it's like, it's cool because then it's like a character like Gigi is now important in this story and in this crew, right? And is brought in.
Yeah.
The idea of like, I don't like. Yeah, that's.
You could always come back home, right? You could always come back home. Think about the story of you like leaving home and trying something new, and then hey, maybe one day the path cross together and it's a sweet homecoming, to the person, right? So it can happen.
Yeah, I think there's not too much opportunity for it right now with just mechanically the way things work on the server, but I hope in the future there's more chance for that to happen. I know one little thing is like the HQ app right now. If you want to go do heists, you're kind of locked to one. If you want to leave it and help someone else, there's this week waiting period before you can rejoin an app, all of that. If there were ways for people to do occasionally jobs with each other, you'd probably see a lot more stuff like that. So in the future, if they make systems that make it so that people can collaborate in these ways more, I think it would happen without everyone having to quote unquote come home and like change all of their role play. You know, you could have these, it's like a beach episode, right?
Right.
Where you just have like a one-off, let's do this thing. Because I know people told me that in 3.0 there was a lot of people dragging people around into different things, and that was possible because you could just do that anytime. Anyone could do that. So
Yeah.
but I also understand why it's not that way right now, because it does get a little crazy with everyone being able to like spam every little thing constantly, and it gets kind of nuts. So we'll see, but I am hoping for that over time.
Here's a way to solve the problem. We can have solo queue or group queue.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, personal cooldown and group cooldown.
Listen,
I have this system in my head.
So hold on. Hear me out. As a person, you have your own cooldown. As a gang, you have your own cooldown. So if you do heist as a gang, it has the gang cooldown. If you do heist as a person, it's your own personal cooldown.
Right. So you can't join anything until your cooldown is done.
Correct.
Regardless of your gang. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Something like that. Because then you don't have to like remove them from the app. I was even saying it'd be really cool if they have a system where you got 6 slots for heist, right? Let's say the 6th one out of the 6 is a flex slot. You can put anyone from any app in there, and they can only do that once every however long. You can't have more than one person join. Mm-hmm. Exactly, like a flex slot. So you can have your usual 5 or whoever's on the HQ app, and then occasionally bring one person in. And that way people can hire in specialists. You can have RP around that where, is a great example, like, ooh, hacker for hire. And then, once a week he can be brought onto one additional job that is outside of his HQ app, and he could have people bid for it or something. Maybe they bid in Buttcoin, something like that. But I feel like there are so many cool ways that they could do that could influence RP in a good way for characters that are good at those things.
No, I definitely agree, because you don't want to constrain people too much, right?
Yeah. Right. But at the same time, like I said, I totally understand why right now it is the way it is, and you can't set up 10 HQ apps and be on all of them. And, it would snowball. It wasn't too bad when they kind of cut it off. But I could see how, people play for a couple months. Eventually, they will have 10 HQ apps. So, I think it makes sense right now for it to be the way it is, just while, things are figured out.
I hate it.
Me too.
No, that was actually.
Damn, well, damn.
I don't know. I don't hate it. I understand why. I do think it's one of those where I'm like, I sometimes worry when they limit something like when it's a specific limit mechanically, like why limit that mechanically as opposed to just punishing groups that abuse it,
right? Like
not as a mechanic, right? Like
setting upper limitations rather than these limitations that feel like very close to the ground. In a way, I think it's the way to do it.
So,
well, I think also part of it seems like they're trying to drive you into being part of a group in order to progress, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, as a criminal.
Yeah.
I get that, and it's very much like it feels like you have to now pick a group and do stuff with that group. My criticism of that is to
progress, yes. To progress, yes, but you can rob people like Group 6 and things like. You can do a lot of criminal activity with random people that you met off the street, right?
Yeah.
I think as far as like what you're talking about, like bank progression, you probably need a group.
Yeah, I think a good example.
But why? Right?
Yeah, because like I'm super close with certain groups. Like my character is not in the guild, but a lot of people think she's in the guild because of how much time I spend with a lot of them. I drive up to Polito late at night when like none of my people are on late at night, but I am. So I'll go up there and I'll be chilling with them, and they'll be like, "Oh, if only you could hack for us." Oh, if only we could bring you to this, bring you to that. And I know I could drive. I could like physically be somewhere with them, but I can't like interact with things, not being on the app and all of that. So for me, it's a little sad not being able to do that, because my character is like, she's not an official associate, but she almost is, right? And being able to have her kind of bounce between would be really cool, but I can't.
Yeah,
I can't without the week cooldown.
I mean, granted, the one of the visions actually for the company was this whole concept of contractors, where like on every job we would bring in 1 or 2 people who weren't company members, and they would do a job with us, which I was actually one of the reasons why I loved. It's funny you talk about this. So my actual I've talked to my chat about this. My goal for Mickey in 4.0, that was literally the goal before 4.0 started, was to create a heist club. And the idea behind the heist club is collab heists. I actually want to go away from 3.0, and actually away from the direction that I think the design is currently, which is there is this crew doing these jobs, this crew doing and I'm like, oh, but what if I want to see who's the best getaway driver? And I put Suarez, Octo, Dundee, and like Ming in a chase together.
Oh God, dude,
right,
what the fuck?
right.
But Ssaab, I make them all drive a 4-door car where all 4 of them are in it, and they just swap who's driver at any given time.
Yep.
So now they're
fight for the wheel.
Nerfed. They get 2 minutes.
I think there's so much potential with that kind of stuff. That's the thing is like, I think the way things are right now with everyone being locked down to a sort of group is that it's very easy for all of the conflict and a lot of the content to be group versus group all the time. But there's no real opportunity for it to be us versus the cops kind of thing, right? Where it's like, let's kind of have some camaraderie between groups on a project that isn't simply like you sell our weed for us or something like that. And I feel like it would just open up so much more. There is, like you said, there is petty crime to do together, right? We could go rob G6 workers or whatever, but it doesn't make much money, so people don't feel the desire to do these things, right?
Yeah,
and not everyone's there to min-max, I will say. So a lot of people will still do this stuff here and there, but they're not going to do it super often. So, it'd be nice if something that is like the big goal for people to be something that's accessible in a collaborative way.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's, Ssaab, I think what I'd also say is like, you have all these crews that like, the way it sort of feels structured is like, they do everything, where it's like, you can look at like, Chain Gang or Old Boys, how do you guys feel about that name, by the way? Sorry, you guys can't shake it.
Buddha hates it. I think it's cute. I like it. There are a lot of people that try to be, I'm the only female character that's like fully bought into the crew and is officially part of it. And they'll be like, you have to be sensitive to her. Don't call it boys because she's there. And I'm like, I actually prefer it because then I don't feel treated differently. But okay. But yeah, WTSI is what people have been calling it, and it just stands for whatever this shit is, because that's how they've been introducing it to characters. They'll like do a whole thing where they bring them down to the docks and they make them wear a suit, right? Because they're getting bought in today, and they pay a fee and they give them this whole like rundown, and they're like, you now have to swim in the waters of Cyprus. They basically like baptize them, but they like throw them in the water. We have this whole ritual. And then when they come out, they're like, welcome to whatever this is, or whatever this shit is, or, something like that. So we've just been like using that abbreviation because we specifically have not named the crew. And also it is not Lang Gang or Lang's crew as much as other characters might say it, because the whole point is he's trying so hard to not be the leader of everything.
Do you want to trigger him in like a huge way? Call it the
Yes.
Lang and Friends Heist Crew.
Ooh.
See if he likes that one. That was my
Oh.
favorite.
Give me a shot.
That was the name I had Mickey spread in 3.0, and I think it got on the MDW in 3.0 was Lang and Friends Heist Crew.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was a fun one. So yeah, but like, okay, so where I was going at that point is like, it like, so the Old Boys or whatever, or even like Chain Gang or something, like, or Hydra, right? These groups have like their material source. They do weed, and they also do heists, and they also do my thinking. I'm curious because I actually feel like me and you think a lot similarly on this, Geega.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what if you just had a crew that just does heists? Like that's all they do, right? I think that's harder role play to do in the current system.
Right.
And I also don't think it's, and people are like, oh, but you have to like earn your spot. Like, it's like, well, why would you like, I've seen so many heist movies where it's like, well, this guy's over in this crew and this guy's in this mafia. And it's literally, there's like a whole Rick and Morty episode that's a meme about it where you bring together the hashtag one last job, get together the crew. and it's like recruiting different people. So I would like to see the change I'd like to see in NoPixel is I want to do a collab. Like, it's not even like, I don't know what the fix is, but it's like, let's say I want to do a collab heist. How do I do that?
Right. I agree. I think there should be some way to do that. I think going along with that, not just heists, everything, like you were saying, it feels like every gang does do everything. And I think there would be a lot more RP opportunity if, I know some people wouldn't like this, but if certain things were more limited, fewer crews could do certain things at certain scales. That way, people have to go to other crews to get access to certain things. I feel like they were sort of doing this with like weed and turf rep, right? So there will be a crew that their strain of weed is the top one in that turf. Right now, that doesn't do too much. You see number go up on the app, but not a lot happens as a result. If they made that actually be a big thing and there is some sort of result due to that, and then that crew gets something that other crews might want to buy off of them or do business or something. That kind of stuff would open so much more RP between crews and forming alliances on certain jobs and pipelines and all that. But really right now it just affects like how many times per minute you can sell your weed so you make more money if you're highest in your turf, and that's it. You know what I mean? There's no reason for other crews to be doing business with you for that usually, because they'll just go to another turf or maybe they'll buy weed off of you and that's it. You just sell weed to a character. Done. It's very short RP. So I think if there could be a way for every pipeline, everything that exists, so moonshine as well, all this stuff, to maybe have an upper end that's more difficult to achieve, that other people might kind of want to get into, then there's reason for more crews to be interacting. So I think moonshine's already going that direction with how hard it is to perfect the recipe right now. It's super time consuming. A lot of people have even figured out farming, all of that. So there are going to be certain people that are going to get to this endpoint of really high selling moonshine first, and then other people might start buying it off of them. They might start doing farming and moonshine and be like, this is so difficult and I don't want to do this. I'm just going to buy it, off of them. And now they have a business relationship. I think there just needs to be more of that, because right now it's everyone doing everything on their own.
And that's a big problem. That happened a lot in 3.0 where people basically lived in their own bubbles and nobody talked to anybody. Right. Now, going back to what you said, Blau, I think an idea that would fix this problem is, what if at the end of the heist, when you do it as a gang, there's codes that you can sell on the streets to any gang or any group that can do the heist themselves afterwards? Ooh. That could be a way, right? That way, the group that is doing the heist gets something out of it, and then they talk to somebody else, and they can sell those codes to the people that want to do the heist and don't have the same kind of access or information.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you want to know, like, that's cool and all, and this is like one of my, like, I get in trouble. I feel like I get in trouble sometimes when I talk about whitelist or why I want certain things whitelisted, because I'm like, okay, I get why the gang apps are restricted, but I'm like, if you put a gun to my head and said like, yo, you have to come up with a simple solution for what you want right now, I'd say, okay, whitelist my app that I have for my crew, and let other people join it, and they can be on their main crew. And my thing is, I'll then message the devs and say, OOC, I won't do ammunition runs, I won't join a broader progression group, and I won't do weed, and I will every week or every 2 weeks do a job that includes characters from any number of different crews. Like, that's because then instead of like having to develop more, that's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just let him have his app that lets other people on it. Like,
it's at least a right now doable solution versus
or at least you're showcasing it. You're showcasing the idea on the server to see if it works. It might not work, right? It might be shit, right? And then how else would you find out? Is by trying it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get it though. They like they don't want like multiple groups basically like app stacking, right? So
yeah,
right.
So I get it.
It's a complex problem, and it's going to need a complex solution. Is basically what's going on there. I think.
And you're not gonna make everybody happy too as well. You're not gonna make everybody happy.
Someone in my chat said, "How can other characters understand that you can do that and they don't?" I even said in character, I was just gonna get Marty Banks to hack the app. Like, isn't he a hacker? Like, why can't? No, I'm serious. Like, why can't Marty Banks hack the app and make it so that mine's an unlocked app, like an unlocked iPhone, right?
That would be interesting. Yeah, there are always ways that you can explain.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna call Marty and be like, Marty, will you hack this? And then he can just hacks HQ app and makes it unlocked. And now I have an unlocked HQ app. That's sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the idea of whitelisting things like that is good if the whole point is to give more people opportunities, right? Because I feel like as a new player, something that I like seeing, something that drew me to doing stuff with Buddha is the way he and some characters that have been around for a long time try hard to make opportunities for new people or people who haven't, maybe they're not new, but they've always done stuff with the same people. There are some characters that try to drag other people into stuff so that they have these, opportunities. And that's just good. As a new person, I see that as just nothing but good. So, I'd like to see it.
I learned probably a big part of my roleplay style. I learned from Buddha during what we called the ski arc in 3.0. If you ever want, if your chat ever pressures you to watch clips, that is that's the one arc in 3.0 I'm pretty proud of with Mickey and Lang, where we basically made a pyramid scheme cult to sell cocaine. And it literally brought in so many new people into role playing with us, and it was amazing. I love that shit. And Buddha taught me a lot about bringing in people to RP. I mean, again, it's one of those tricky things. Even back to the HQ app, where I'm like, if the company was still around and we're trying to create a solution towards our contractor thing, I think my idea is bad. I think that is actually it is low key trying to use the role play of the company to get an advantage of another HQ app.
Right.
I think since that has disbanded, and since I would just OOC be like, listen, I just want to create literally all I want to do is I just want to create a heist club for collab heists. Bro, I want to see Rami and Harry do a heist together. I want to
exactly.
I want to see I want to see group people in heist that you would never normally see on a job together.
Something I really wanted to do that I was talking to a couple people about before the HQ app changed, that you were kind of locked into it. I was discussing an all-girl heist crew where we get one girl from every major, because every major crew has at least one girl that is at some point joining their heist. Some have more than others. And I was like, what if we just get all of the women and do girl gang, just for heists, put aside any differences that our crews have during that time. In RP, we just do blood pact. We're not going to tell our crews about this, right? And then we go do it. That was something that I thought would be really nice. And then, we can't right now. We don't have the option, but it was we were thinking about it. And there were a few people I didn't even get to reach out to yet about it, about maybe doing that whole thing because, the change happened. But I was hoping to do that. I was going to get anyone that I knew was joining anyone else's heists. I was going to contact OOC and be like, hey, I'm going to put up an ad that's dark web, just, looking for women who are good at these things and try and get some of their characters to bite and set something up. But we didn't get to. So I hope we can in the future, because that'd be really fun.
Mods, ban the chatter silent. I believe that's a chat hopper. If we could get them banned, that'd be great. Anyways,
get them out of here.
Thank you. Either we need to role play more together, or we should just stay very, very far apart, because we we literally have the same ideas on this shit.
Yeah.
I literally because that was literally I was like, okay, well, contractor ideas so that we can bring in other people, basically the celebrity idea, or the a celeb hacker, or random getaway driver. And then silent, I'll be on later to do the driving job. And then literally I was like, oh, we should do an all women's crew. And so we just grabbed a bunch of women from different groups and did an all women's heist, which was sick, even though the cops didn't listen to their demands.
Oh, great.
Yeah, you guys are supposed to do all women drivers against them, but lots of ideas. So then I'm curious for you is beyond the logistics stuff, do you think heists is your main focus of roleplay?
Right now, I would say yeah. We have the difficulty is, so far on most jobs, it's been my character and Marty and for our crew. So thank God the Maze Bank heist is what it is because if I showed up and was like, yo, I want her to be a hacker, and there was only a little bit to do, they would just be like, okay, Marty, go hack it. and then it would just be like, it would just be that. And like my character would have kind of no place on the crew.
Right.
But thankfully they're the Maze Bank is what it is. And there was especially like had this whole arc where he didn't want to join the pettier heists because they didn't pay out that much, and he was doing G6 and he was getting so much money for it. And he was like, I'm not going to risk my G6 job for 20K from a laundromat, So then it was my character and Marty instead doing all the hacking and save for the cash exchange, right? Like the two of us went on everything. So my character got the chance for those earlier heists to do them. And that was also like OOC, part of him also stepping down from doing all those early heists. He did some, but he wanted me to have the opportunity to do it, to be honest. So it was just it was nice. It was nice. So I was going in and I like Marty still hates the cash exchange word hack. He hates it. He his brain just scrambles when he's doing it. So he just had me do that door every time, and and it was nice. It was nice. So because of that, they were the characters were made aware that I could do some hacking. And then Maze Bank comes about, and there is a reason to have like 3 separate hackers, at least 2, but 3 does kind of make sense. It is helpful. So I was able to, do stuff there, which was good.
Wouldn't it be cool if there's other things you could do at the bank as like somebody who's helping out as muscle? Like open up like the elevator shaft, maybe like just mechanics where it's more than one person involved. I know it's kind of hard with like a GTA 5 being like, a 10-year-old game or 11.
Like in tandem.
Right.
That would be nice. I feel like they kind of did that with one of the hacks where 2 people have to do the same hack next to each other, and they both have to succeed. And if they don't succeed, you have to get out of that spot. So that is cool. It's not that's what I wanted though. I wanted some hacks or some puzzles where you literally have to have 2 people getting 2 different sets of information that they have to pass to each other. I don't know if you've ever played the game We Were Here or like any of things in that series. Stuff like that, right? One person is standing in a room seeing what they're seeing. Another person standing in another room seeing what they're seeing, and they pass a lot of info.
Oh my god, that's a
the
cool
communication. Heist. That's what I want because
through radio too.
Yeah, through radio or screaming, through through a room, whatever it is. But I think one thing that I can see right now at doing some of the hacking is it's very high pressure. A lot of people are gonna not be able to do these hacks where it's just all on them to do a little task, and a lot of it's like human benchmark stuff, all these things.
Right.
And it is training specific skill sets. Certain types of memory. A lot of these puzzles are very, very, actually all of them. All of the hacks are super easy, but they're timed. And the timer is what makes it difficult, right? Doing within that time, you have a limited number of chances, all of that. So the difficulty there is how fast and like lizard brained can you do this without like thinking deeply about it, How fast can you do this in this time?
Yeah, how fast can you go?
And the thing is, before GTA, a lot of my content and a lot of the games that I play focused on indie games, and a lot of them have a lot of puzzles in them. I love puzzles. And hacking in NoPixel doesn't feel like that. It does not feel like puzzles. It does not feel like it's made for someone who is good at that kind of stuff. It's made for people who can do a simple thing really fast. So like rote memorization is good. So I feel like it'd be really interesting, and you'd see a lot of people come up and really come out of the woodwork as really talented hackers if more, or not even hackers, but just more of the puzzles involved in the heists were not gated by time, and there's actually like a big puzzle-based skill check. And a lot of it was through communication or, logistically figuring a thing out. A simple example is in the bank heist right now, there's some lights. There are 3 lights. And it's hard to figure out how to light up the third one. You do one task, one hack, first light goes green. You do another one, second light goes green. There's a third thing to do, but it's not easy to find to know you even have to do it. Yeah. And it
you push the button I already know, don't worry.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing where looking at those lights above the door, you see that one is not green and you go, oh, there's something missing, right? And it clues you in, then you have to go look around. If that's like a baby version of what I want from the heists, though, I want more like environmental clues and environmental puzzles that are not necessarily time gated, rather than sitting there and being like, how many words can I select in 25 seconds, I think those are good too, but like
there was a heist. There was a heist like that once.
I have heard.
Even a heist where like you stand on the opposite side of the room and you have to try to find a way to where you can get past through like some sort of obstacle. Something like that would be pretty cool.
I just like to see more of it because I don't like seeing some crews right now are getting really like shafted when they're trying to do these heists because they could logistically, logically figure out all of this. They just can't like do the little hack, and there's nothing for the people that are quote unquote smart but don't have good rope memorization, maybe.
Right. You're screwed at that point.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just like to see more variation there, but that's, I'm biased because I love puzzle games and stuff. So my idea of what a puzzle is a bit deeper, I guess, a bit more elaborate than this.
Do you want to see more puzzle heist? Do you like the silent heist kind of nature of Maze Bank? How do you feel about heist?
I love that. I love that so much because there are a lot of people on the server that I think would prefer that sort of thing. I'm one of them. But I think there's a lot of people that prefer this because not everyone who wants to play criminal wants to play like the go in loud gangbangers sort of thing. There is space for that, and I think it's arguably easier to be one of those if that's what you like, because a lot of things seem to be designed where you could just brute force rush in, right? But this where you can do it almost completely silently is incredible, because then people like me that are honestly, I'm not that great at driving. I haven't been able to practice much. I haven't gotten to shoot a gun once in this game. Not once,
Wait, what? Really? Not once?
Never. Not once. Held one. Didn't have to shoot one even one time.
Damn.
So a character like mine who's more on the business side, but then also like, works out as a hacker, it suits that type of RP to be able to be like, okay, let's silently rob this bank. Let's get in there, hack it, take stuff and go. That makes a lot of sense. And, when you look at IRL heists, it's a lot of stuff like that. It's not usually a hostage situation, trying to rush out of the bank or whatever. It's almost always people doing sneaky stuff, disguising as someone, as a worker, and trying to go in there and hack something and flip something out. That's like what you see in real life. So yeah, I just like that. I want to see more of that.
I have a counterpoint for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because and maybe this is where Gigi needs to meet Mickey. Because now I figured out where our characters are different. Your character is like Gigi's very, I think we both have heist-oriented characters who want to we're interested in these like collaborative sort of things. Gigi's a very calculated, kind of quiet character. I play Mickey as the loudest motherfucker ever. Like Mickey is very, Mickey is like Ssaab will even tell you like the way I do like this might I don't know. I literally tip the cops off to my plans usually, or come up with a reason to do that because, and so you like Maze Bank. So here's what I would be interested to see if you maybe you'll like this kind of roleplay. Maybe you'll hate it and you won't like it.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about escape rooms or puzzles, they're not quite puzzles. It is a different sort of thing. It's more like solving like an action game.
Right.
Getaways, crazy getaways. So for instance, for me, that's where my character is. Why I hate Maze Bank. I think Maze Bank is beautifully designed. I actually think it's one of the best designed heist NoPixel's ever done, but it's specifically designed for characters like Gigi, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
If I could press a button that said, get half the loot, skip all the hacks, break door down with bomb and alert cops, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Well, this is something I've brought up to my chat before. I want that. It would take so much time to design, but I want every heist to have two options. One is go through, silent, try to hack. It's methodical. You get more loot, but it's harder from that aspect. And then the other is, like you said, go in, use thermite straight on the door, blast it open, alarm immediately goes off. You have a hostage and you get out. Because I think this way, different crews that have different types of people can all try to do this, right? Because my crew, like I said, right now we have Marty and myself, and then like is joining some, and that is stacked on hacking. So it would make sense for us to go in like that. There are other crews that have no one that really likes hacking. They like getaway. They like being in your face. They like holding someone up with a gun, right? And being in that standoff. So I feel like every heist, they should have that option, or try to make it so that there are multiple ways to get through it, and different ways have, alarms being tripped or whatever.
Right.
But if you use more tools, you put a little more money into it, and you go slow through that and do more hacks, then you can get more money at the end out of it and do it silently. I think that option is really nice.
I can tell you somebody who plays cops. cop character at least, not having a cookie cutter heist every single time is a blessing because and just going into it in the same usual format, it gets repetitive. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many times you try to make it different. It's still going to be the same bank, a hostage, and the same negotiation.
Yeah, no spike strips, safe passage to our car. Woo. I think the only time I saw someone like really, not the only time, but one of the most recent that I can remember that was like very obvious that someone did something different was when the guild robbed the laundromat for the first time because they put off Heist for so long and they like ran out. They broke negotiations. They just sprinted out and all got on bicycles.
Yep, I was there.
Yeah, I think that was like really refreshing to see because it made all of the laundromats before that just so boring to watch. So boring, after you've seen 10. Really interesting the first time you see it, even though it's a simple heist, but then it's repetitive. And, there are people that cook up really funny ideas. I think Forehead is a good example, right? I think he had them go in dressed. They were dressed as like, were they the ones that did electricians or bug stars? Was that you guys? I think you did one as well like that, right?
We did one in our underwear.
Yeah. And you were like, we're washing our clothes
we
or
just,
something
no,
like
we
that.
just said we got robbed. And then we actually threw the USB up onto the roof.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's the sort of thing where
That's what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Smart.
That's good.
That's smart.
I'd like to see more of that, but while it's good and everyone's a role player, so it makes sense for the onus to be on them to make it interesting. After a certain point, when you start to get into like bigger and more complex heists, I think it has to be just designed where you could, do things different ways.
I think one of the
something like that for the cops.
I think one of the issues comes down to like if you're a dev for NoPixel, there's only so much you can develop for a new heist. Where it's like for someone like you, Giga, it's cool where it's like, and again, this is just where their like resources probably have to go. It's like they have to create new puzzles or hacks to solve for the people who want that experience. On the flip side, I do think it's actually really easy for them to just like I call it the bomb bank, which is literally I robbed this bank using bomb.
Yep.
It alerts the police. Why I have pushed for that is because then it's actually on the role player to design the content. Like if you think about the game designers make the hacks, right? But now it's the onus is on me to design a scenario now for the cops. And for that side, like that's what I want. Like I would love to do that. I think someone like Giga would probably want to. I want people to take people hostage in a plane. Like like I want like so I'm not just saying like all my ideas I want to be like fun. Oh my God, we're in our underwear to laundromat. No, I want us to like I want a fucking heist where where there's no hostages at the front of the bank. We hand you a fucking phone. And you're on the phone with a hostage on a fucking plane. And they're like, yo, this plane's been hijacked. We're up in the air. They check with ATC and ATC's like, this is confirmed. We have this plane up in the air. There's hostages on this plane. And now it's like, oh shit. Well, how do you handle negotiations now, right? Like that's different than just, no spike strips free passage all of a sudden. So I want to create more scenarios like that. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree. I've thought about that. And I had suggested to someone a while back, because I don't know what is and isn't allowed sometimes, but I was like, what if we have multiple hostages and we have like one in the laundromat, for example, and we get safe passage, whatever. And then we drive to a spot where there's another hostage that one of our other people, like our sixth guy is just holding up, and we stop right there. And something else is happening, right? And we have this like multi-part stepped out kind of thing. So if you get out, you get out. But if you don't, okay, go to location B where we have another hostage. And, if your car's out, you'd be like, wait for us to get a new one, or something like that. Little things like this. And we just haven't done it yet. But I would like to do more like that because I think there's just everyone, I don't know. It's so solved. And I think you get used to doing things the same way that once you've done something and it's worked, it's hard to get yourself to do it a different way because you're like, well, now I can just do this and get my money and I should be okay. 80% success rate, or whatever.
Right. You're just thinking about the getaway at that point.
We did a heist, one of my favorite heists in 3.0 called Bomb on the Bus. It was me and Erwin Dundee did it with like the BBMC.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it was literally, it was like actually like a more tense sort of role play.
Right.
Where it was like, we had, I think, like 6 or 7 hostages, all on a bus, all dressed as the bank robbers. And as we drove through Vinewood and we were screaming out that there's a bomb on this bus, we will blow it up. what we would do is we then would push out all the hostages to run away from the bus. The cops would try to have to go and track them down because they thought, well, and if you're the hostage, like, well, I want to get away from the bus because there's a bomb on it, right? And so it was this whole like, cat and mouse thing of trying to find who the actual bank robbers were. I love and people. There was like I remember there's a chain gang robbery where they like forced everyone to just start running out of the vault at one point. And
they made everybody dress up the same as them. It was like 20 people.
Oh my god!
And then I think did something similar like that. I think his last heist, 100 people dressed up as Gino. I think he was there on Mickey Blau.
Yeah, it was for his birthday.
What is his birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100 hostages were in there dressed up as Gino.
Oh my god!
And it was a needle in a haystack trying to find Gino.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so I want to see more. Don't get me wrong. I love Maze Bank. The problem is, I as Mickey will like try to I would like talk to like Benji or Ray and be like, hey guys, like here's like the getaway. It's like, bro, we're just trying to get the fucking laptop thermite fingerprint thing, RC card, get this hacker PNY card, go like. There's so many steps that I'd rather like. That's what I'm saying. I really just wish there was a bank that was like, hey, I spent $200,000 to buy this bomb. I blew up this vault. There's $300,000 now in this vault. Hey, here's a chase. And then we can create cool stuff from there.
That's what I'm thinking, whether it's each heist can be done 2 ways or they're just, you release one thing that's done more stealthily and another thing that's done in a louder way. Because I feel like people just want to roleplay differently. And some characters, it makes sense for them to go and do certain things a certain way. Some characters, it might make sense, but the streamer just might not have the skill for a certain thing. They might be really good at getaway, but they're just not good at doing any of the internal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to see people that want to do that kind of content get locked out from it or anything like that, So it'd be nice to just have those options. And then it just creates more variation in the content. Like I was saying, like everyone does the laundromat the same way for the most part. So when someone does something slightly different and they're in there and they're like, oh, I'm a janitor, I'm cleaning. Like it's that alone is so simple but so interesting because it's just a different scenario,
Yeah, I've watched I actually watched your stream, Ssaab. I watched the cop POV just to see. Yeah, crazy. I watched your stream for it was like one of my days off. I had your stream open the whole day. Dude,
I'm sorry.
Every chase, like I was losing my mind. It's like every chase. Hey, we're in a car. Oh, the car's smoking. Okay, hop over this concrete barrier to another car. Oh, hey, the car's smoking. Hop out of the car. Hop on a bike. And I was like, oh, I never want to see another red garage again. Holy shit!
Oh my god!
I've
seen some of the cops start waiting at red garage when you're like circling near buns and everything, and you're just circling and circling in a smoking car. I've seen cops just wait there, and because they just
have
know.
to.
Yeah,
it happens so often. At that point, if you're not there, you're just letting it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I want to see? This is my challenge. I have a new challenge. It's an OOC challenge. To any of the people who think that they're actually drivers, my new challenge is you're not allowed to swap. And if you go down, you go down. And only true NoPixel drivers will not swap. Anyone else who swaps, you are officially out of the running to be best driver. True NoPixel drivers will not swap and will always try to drive out. And
hey, part of your heist idea right there in the future. Get all the drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you're telling me that? Wait. So like, you're telling me I should get like all the good drivers and make them all drive the same car and nerf them by making it so the car's way down because they're all in it. And then say that the only swaps that are allowed is for them to swap the drivers, but not the vehicles?
Yep, they can repair it, but they cannot swap the vehicle.
That's a good idea.
That would be a really interesting negotiation too. If you have a good driver and you negotiate with the cops, hey, we're allowed to stop to repair our car. The driver gets out and repairs it. Nobody else does, but we're not allowed to swap. If you see a swap, negotiation's broken.
The cops would say yes because they're like, I don't want fucking swaps.
Yeah. I thought about doing that with Goofy and like having him just keep driving the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, if he told me I would rather get a repair kit than a swap, I'm 100% down for it.
Yeah.
All the way.
It would be interesting. I don't know. I just feel like it's the same negotiation every time. Same exact thing.
Giga, I'm curious. So,
yeah,
we learn a lot about crew that you're role playing with and stuff. The old boys. Who on the server? Like, are there any characters or just role play? Like, even if you don't know their characters, role players. Who are the people who you haven't gotten to role play with as much, but you wish you could role play with more?
Ooh. I think Gigi Costello, Angel. We've met in
don't want to role
character.
play with her. You don't role play with her.
What if I do? We've talked a bit in character here and there. We tend to visit each other's chats more than we actually talk in character, though. We just keep like not running into each other. But we did once the other day. I was doing like the news, so she just tagged along for like she was getting really tired, but she was like, "I'm gonna tag along," because we keep meaning to do stuff. And it was really fun. It was really fun. She was like interviewing people, and I was like going in there, and we were swapping, and I was like, we should just do this more. We should just do this more. And then she joined the manor, and then they went to war with our crew. So I was like, oh well. Ooh.
She's really talented. She's really good.
Yeah. No, I love her. I think she's great. And we were even thinking. I was telling her I wanted to start like a fight club where people who have beef with each other can like duel it out, and we'll do pay-per-view. And I was like, we could start with the opening one being that we're both named Gigi, and like there can only be one, and we would fight, and then like something would be the prize. Like people would have to save us in their phones as Gigi and Gigi 2, and whichever one lost was Gigi 2 in everyone's phone, or whatever it is, like petty stuff like that. So we were talking about it, and then we just haven't done it yet. But I feel like we're approaching the point where we might be able to do that, as things fizzle out between our crews.
You know what's crazy is like you're new to like GTA 5 RP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet you have such a good mindset and mature mindset as far as like going to conflict, going to war, because what you're saying should be the way to also go to conflict. It shouldn't be always gang, bang, bang. I shot you 5 times. There should be other ways to express conflict.
Yeah, I want, my character hasn't really run into conflict with other people very much because a lot of the roleplay has been specifically keeping her in the shadows and like stealthing her in and out of places, so fewer people find out about her and her role, and she just appears to be a civilian to most people, whatever. It's like coming undone now, only recently, but it was like that for months and months. And what's something I wanted is when my character gets into conflict with people to always offer them like a duel. Be like, okay, do you want to do a duel? No weapons. Meet me on the hospital helipad up on the roof and at sunset, and let's fight. Like I want her to always offer that to people and see who takes it. And I know some people will be like, no, because their character's like, fuck that, which might make sense, but I want to try and do that. Or even have like someone else offer us like a challenge that we both do. It could even be a race. It could be like, I've put these 3 objects out in these 3 places, or there are people sitting there. You guys have to go between them and get to them and bring those things back here. And whoever wins the thing, right? Little things like that to squash beef. I think that would be really fun. And since there's been a lot of conflict very recently between gangs, and it's sort of devolved into a lot of just, I shoot you, you shoot me, I rob you, you rob me, everyone loses money. I've thought about like trying to sometime soon offer some of those solutions to those gangs and be like, do you want to do like a challenge, or something? But I have to see if I can get a third party involved to maybe like moderate that. Beef moderator. Maybe that's for Mickey. I don't know. I feel like that would actually be really good.
Yeah.
Like he's brought in as a third party.
That should be somebody's job in the South Side to be like basically like the Pope, right? Or the priest.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think that'd be really fun, and it would make so many funny scenarios, almost like the events that like Andy Jones does. Some things like that, but they're for the purpose of squashing beef or a gang fight rather than just a fun thing for civilians, quote unquote.
I brought in like I did the whole like Yu-Gi-Oh club arc because I wanted as a like fun, like for some crews as a funny way to squash beef would be like, we'll challenge you to a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. And like have that just be like a funny like not obviously not all gang conflict should be settled with something so drastic as a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. Sending someone to the Shadow Realm is a little vicious, but like listen, the way I think about it is like in NoPixel everyone revives, but once you're sent to the Shadow Realm, like that's forever, right? Like
right, and now you have something that you can keep mentioning, you can keep posting on Twitter, like don't forget that I beat you in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? It's just stupid stuff that keeps it more lighthearted. I think that would be nice. Really, really nice. But We'll see.
Wow,
I don't know. I have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I feel like you think about roleplay very similarly to me. I think the key key difference with how you play Gigi and how I play Mickey is I play Mickey just very
The
loud
loudness.
and obnoxious.
Yeah.
That's why Lang probably gets along with Gigi. She's like Mickey, but not obnoxious.
Right.
Oh.
I think he said something to me, as Gigi about like, you remind me of a person I used to work with. I think he was alluding to Mickey.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Giga, never change, by the way. Your approach to roleplay is fantastic.
Thank you. I hope so. I don't know. I kind of just ran into it and I was like, well, this is what I think and this is how I'm going to do it. And I just kind of hoped that it fits. So it's good that it does. I don't know. I'm sort of a hard ass. So if my ideas were not good for the server, I just wouldn't mesh, No,
I every idea oh my god, dude, if they could do the silent versus loud heist for the big heist, I would.
Yeah. I would love that.
What have been like some of your favorite roleplay moments? Like what has like happened so far in NoPixel 4.0? Like, damn, that was it. That was sick. Like what were either hype or just funny, good moments?
Oh. I think one of my favorite arcs was Tony is always broke. He had $7,000 cash in his pocket. He had just gotten paid by our crew. I had handed him his payment.
Never change. Oh
yep.
My God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Typical.
You literally have 2.0 dealing with Tony, 3.0.
1.0.
Yeah, now
Oh, you have
1.0. Oh, wow.
Since the dawn of time, okay? Since I met him.
Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah, no, it's everything I hear about everyone else. I'll be like, this guy's always broken. They're like, yeah. And it's just the loudest sigh, It's so funny. But it's like, I don't know, he keeps running into characters like me that they're just not going to feel bad for him. They're just not going to help him. They're going to be like, you get yourself out of debt. Come on, Tony, get yourself together, right? It's just, that's always like funny, that dynamic. But he, my favorite scenario here was I paid him $7,000 from our crew for some work that he had done. There you go. There's your cut. He has it in cash on him. He goes to Senior Buns. He's going to get food and then go to the bank. Why not go to the bank first? I don't know. It's Tony. He has maybe like 3K in his bank. So this 7K is like a big deal to him. A huge deal. And this was months ago. So the thing here is this was before people had guns. If they wanted a gun, they had to rob it off of PD. And not many people had done that. The idea of someone having a gun was like a huge deal. Right. So one of the guys in Dundee's crew comes up to him with a knife and is like, hands up, and robs the $7,000 off of him. And Tony is distraught. He's crying on the floor. He's so upset because that was like the only money he had earned. He was so excited when I handed him the money too. It was like the biggest deal. So he tells like Luciano, and so it's me, him, Luciano, and I think Octo. We were together, and we were like, we have to get it back. We have to get that money back. Tony is crying, So he goes, he's like calling out Dundee, which of course, if you call out Dundee on like Twitter, he'll always come out and engage. God, yes. It's so fun for him, and like probably my most favorite person to beef with. Yeah, so fun. So he's like, yeah, chat's already going, rocks out. It was so funny because we had this, we were trying to figure out how to fight them because everyone just has wrenches. And arguably for me, the servers, combat and everything is more fun when everyone's doing melee because it's so goofy. It's so funny.
Melee I think was awesome. Oh, I miss those days.
It's so funny. I wish it lasted longer. But we were doing this and, we take one of their guys and we beat him over the head and we take him as a hostage. And we call Dundee down. And we're like, you have to come here. We have him in the trunk. And, you're going to give that $7,000 back. And it's funny because Dundee has like so much more money at this point. And Tony is like beating one of his guys up over $7,000. It was like just funny. So we do this and a chase ensues at some point. We like, he's like refusing to give the money back. And he's like, give us our guy back. He's trying to get like aggressive. We leave the guy in the trunk and we start riding around. Goofy's driving. This is me, Tony, Luciano. So it's like a car full of Italians, just in there. And Dundee's crew is chasing us in 3 cars. And we had rocks. We had rocks on us. And the thing is,
I saw a clip of this.
Our crew was going, rocks on laps. And we're holding the rocks out the window. So the car has like 4 arms sticking out of it, holding the stupid rocks. It looks so funny. It looks so goofy from afar. And we're throwing rocks at their car to like hit it and kind of try to like move them around. And what we did was we came up with a plan in the car to go through a part of Cyprus that has a gas tank. We drive past that, and Dundee is right behind us, and we throw the rock at the gas tank so it explodes as he's behind us. And we almost got him. We didn't, but it was like a movie scene moment. And I feel like I also had a lot of moldy bread and like fruit in my pockets because I was in the sewers. So I was just like throwing old food everywhere, and I was like putting individual bits of bread in the glove box for them to grab. So I was like, re-upping them on ammo. And we're just throwing bread at their car. And it was like a solid like hour and a half of just this around the city, us chasing each other, throwing shit at each other, screaming. And it was just so funny. In the end, he got his 7K back. And we were like, all right, we're squared up. And Dundee was like, don't do it again. Give our boy back, And it was like, boom, what a great hour and a half of like funny up and everything. And that was probably my most like favorite anything that's happened with me involved on the server. I loved that. I loved that.
And the conflict is done. It's not going to drag on for a week or a month or a year, right?
Bro, I love conflict when it's like a day. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for that, like beefing with people for like an hour. Just having an hour of just going in on each other, 2 hours, and then being like, okay, we did the thing, match over. We're at a stalemate, and then going about your day. Because I don't know, I just don't have the stamina.
How do you feel about twatter beef? Do you like to twatter beef on Gigi?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I haven't gotten to do it much with her. I haven't gotten to because we're keeping her in the shadows, or, I guess now she's a little more exposed. But like for the longest time I was. So I would see something and I'd be like, I want to say something so bad. And I would just tell another character. I'd be like, twat this at them, And I love it because Marty loves that too. So like me and Omi sitting there constantly like discussing like, oh, you know what, next beef that happens with this person, we should say this on Twatter. And we have like these one-liners saved up in our heads, just waiting.
Dude,
I love it.
Yeah, Twatter beef is the best. I purposefully just insert Mickey into Twatter beef just because I fucking I just love the beef. Oh, it's so good.
I love just wavering to the other side constantly too. If someone's saying something against one of my boys and it's funny, I'll side with them on Twatter.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, that was funny. Yeah, fuck that guy. You got him. I love that. Or, I don't know. I need more of that.
I was going to ask, so, what, role play can be kind of stressful. Like, have there been any like major challenges for you? Anything that you've been like, fuck, that was a hard day, or like that was a hard situation? Like, where's been like challenges in learning role play in 4.0?
I think honestly the hardest for me was the very, very, very beginning. There's not a good way right now, and not a good path to get cleanly onboarded when you are new to it. Figuring out the UI, I did not know that holding Alt would let me see other options on things. I didn't know. There was literally no way for me to know that until another character told me. And they're trying to not say the word Alt. Use your alternate eye. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm like so confused. I didn't know that sitting in a car and holding F1 could open options. Like these little things that open up a lot of other stuff. You just don't know. And I think I'm at the point now where I know pretty much everything, but there's so much still that like comes up, little nuances that I just don't know. I didn't know that someone being in the trunk of your car could have it be weighed down a certain way. All that kind of stuff. Like all these little things that could really mess you up if you're trying to be a criminal, you're trying to do getaway, right? You just don't know. But then a lot of the people playing cops do know this. So there's, if you're a new player, you're severely disadvantaged when you're trying to do that stuff. So I think a lot of the difficulty for me has been trying to get into certain things like that, but knowing that like these cops compared to me at least are like Terminators, and like, and I don't know the swaps.
Some of them are just,
Well, yeah, I know. At this point, I've adjusted, and I'm like, okay, I know like which ones are like the scary ones and which ones are like, I probably could have a chance of just rat stratting away. But that's the other thing, rat strats and stuff. It takes. I don't think people understand how many hours it takes to get to learn the map. I only learned where Pink Cage was like last month. I'm like learning landmarks,
Yeah,
I only know
it takes
the stuff
time.
that's relevant to 4.0 that's on my GPS, right? So
And sometimes you'll learn it in the middle of a shootout or middle of a pickup or something bad is going on.
That is literally how I've learned everything. I've been thrown into the deep end, and my character will be asking Lang, like, what are some landmarks I should know? And he'll be like, you'll find out on radio.
What?
That's a good call out.
that's actually been some like really fun RP for me has been my character specifically having certain characters grief her, like on my own POV. And it's just
That's funny.
it's really funny. It's really, really funny.
Yeah.
But like Lang does it the most, right? He'll be like, I'm not telling you shit. You're gonna learn because I'm gonna show you where to go. And then I don't even end up in his car. Stuff like that. So
this is giving me PTSD.
Been there, done that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Been through it.
Same. I'm saying.
Yeah.
How's it been with you and the cops? Like, how is role playing as a sort of more secretive crim? But you've been caught a few times, right? Like, how's cop role play been?
Ooh,
I love RPing with the cops personally because my character keeps trying to bullshit her way out of everything. I try to talk out of everything. I'd rather like get caught instead of like evading, be like, I don't know what happened, and start like talking through it. So I have like a case right now, for example, where I'm gonna have a lawyer take it up. They left me in a cell for 2 hours when they grabbed me for something.
Sorry about that.
No.
I don't know why
No,
you,
it's
I don't know
okay.
why you
I let
left
it
in the
happen.
cells.
Well,
Well, no,
that's
I
the
mean,
thing. I knew you guys didn't realize. OOC, I knew you guys didn't realize what was going on and that you didn't know what cops had said to me. So a lot of people probably, I assumed, were under the impression that I had been told XYZ, someone's got to be getting her a lawyer, right? Like all these things. And I knew that like it was being mishandled. So what I did was I had my character eat all of her food really quickly, right at the beginning, the chips that she was handed, so that I could hopefully starve out in the cells and get a negligence case. So I was ready. I was ready to just sit there. And that was the other thing. Even
That's
without
evil.
The food thing, she didn't end up starving out. They did let me go before that, but she was in there for 2 hours. No lawyer, swabbed without being told why or asked or anything. You know what I mean? I was letting it be messy. I wasn't having her ask and be like, well, what am I detained for? And start a conversation. Because I was like, this could lead to like a really funny case.
you were enjoying the mess the PD provided, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. And then I love the idea of my character trying to pretend that like every criminal thing she's involved in, she didn't even know like that this was illegal or she wasn't trying to do anything bad and she's just trying to bullshit through it. So there was connected when I was arrested that time, it was because I did a pickup for Marty. Marty called and was like, get on radio, this frequency, and pick me up at this train station, drive me to like my house. So I showed up in my legal car. All I had was an ISI because I had no lockpick. And there were like, I had no other legal cars that I could use at the moment. They were all broken down and I was going to get them fixed. So I'm like, wow, I have a shit car, like no acceleration. I'm going to show up and do a pickup. But I thought it'd be fun to crash out for him because his character has crashed out for mine several times, So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. So I pick him up in my legal car and start driving and I don't go over 85. And then I get like pitted to all hell, I'm like incapacitated from that. And the whole thing I'm going to try and argue with my character there is like, I was just picking up my friend from the train station. I was in my legal car, no mask. The cops showed up, but they didn't verbally, because they didn't verbally say, stop the car, we're chasing you or anything. They had lights on, but they were just around. They just started pitting her. So she got nervous. And she was like, oh God, they're just pitting me.
They think it's another pickup. So they're like, oh, let's just go at them. Like,
right. And to her, she just got a call from a friend and they said, hey, get on radio if it's easier and drive me to my house. So she's like, okay. And it'll be fun role play. Not expecting it to work, but it'll be really fun role play to like, try and step through all of that with the police. I'm excited for that.
I mean, definitely have fun with it for sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time people just they just like fully admit kind of what they did and they're like, drop the charge down a little bit because it wasn't that bad, right? And that tends to be a lot of the discussion there. But I'd rather like try to have her like go through the whole thing and play an entire situation out in her head that was different from what happened, and just see if it works. And hopefully the cops or the people on the, the opposite lawyer, working on this case, hopefully they like RP well with that, because a lot of people do kind of assume that everyone's doing something bad all the time. And I know that kind of like, that will shape things here and there, but I'm hoping to keep it going because she's been caught for something before. And my character's a doctor, still hired on right now. Even though
I remember the
the first day where I got the first felony I got was a cash exchange robbery. I got robbery of a financial institution, but built a story. I was talking to the character Declan Crane about it. He was the officer that was arresting. And she was talking to him and she starts talking to him about anime. And He loves anime. So he's like, wow, she's really cool. Should we just let her go? She's really nice. She doesn't have anything on her. like there's no money in her pocket. so she was like, yeah, you know, I don't know why I'm here. They told me to just stand in the front. Then they handed me a crowbar and I was just standing there and they told me to stand behind this lady. I just don't get it. Right. And I had her like doing that. And because of that, then his character went to the medical center and was like, hey, I know she has a felony, but I want to give a report that she was very compliant and didn't seem to like she just fell in with a bad crowd, whatever. So we RP'd that I like kept my doctor job from that. So I'm trying to keep that up and have like my character every time be like, I was just picking up my friend. I don't get it, you know? And like, just to make funny scenarios. Cause I think the investigative stuff is fun for cops. And if I just be like, yeah, I did it, lower my sentence though, because I admitted it and I gave you info, then the cops don't get a chance to like really try to investigate a character that much. They already know. So I'm hoping that they go along with what I'm trying to do and drag it out with me. So that way they get to like build more on it over time. But only if they're willing to, you know, engage with that. They might just be like, I know you robbed that bank, you know, or whatever. We'll see.
I love giving, on that note, I love giving cops breadcrumbs is always sick.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like doing that.
Yeah, that's why like when I was
appreciate that. Thank you.
When I was getting out of that, there was a bank robbery into me picking up Marty later. I was already out. Normally we get off of radio and we like, you know, put the radios away or something. And I left it on her when I was going to have her pick up Marty, even though Marty and her were on the phone, because I knew like, okay, if I get caught, it's the same radio frequency from the bank earlier. And it's not enough for them to fully be like, she did that crime, but it's something, right? It gives them something. And that was why my character was held in the cell for 2 hours and they subpoenaed her DNA to see if it was on some gold bars from the bank earlier, right? And it was like all this stuff. And then they swab her and they find it's not. She didn't touch any of that. So like, you know, she wasn't connected there. But I just feel like these little things are nice for the cops to have, especially McNulty, because he's like really, really, really trying to work on the case for like the crew that I'm in. And if we just super hard deny him that, I feel like, I don't know, from his perspective, that's not fun.
You know, I mean, I've definitely investigated like your group, a lot of different groups, and when people give back RP, I love it. It gets me motivated and excited about the potential that could happen.
Right.
I will tell you, Giga, my one regret from NoPixel 3.0 was that the ski cocaine arc did not come crumbling down and collapsing on me and Buddha. We wanted it to. We wanted like Scarface shootout in the clean manner, fucking bricks of cocaine being shot up with bullets. We want some crazy fucking shit.
Right.
And we ended up not getting it. We ended up moving away from it. There was a whole like mechanics change. So it was just like unfortunate timing. But like, oh my God, the cops were. It was. Was it Bass? You guys were on us. Like we were. Yeah. We were like, we were probably like a week away from being just fully fucked over. So I will always say you will never regret when like that shit goes south and they investigate because the content's always so good from it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if there's no investigative anything, right? It just keeps ending too quickly, then the cop POV is just chases. It's chases and holding people in cells. Right. And I can see because I do watch cop POVs here and there. I try to not watch too many streams of other criminals because I don't want to like know what they're doing so much. But I like watching the cop POVs because I just want to learn to drive better. So I like watching them, you know, like go through certain lines and things. What do I watch?
She said she said she learned to drive better, so not you.
Yeah, I was watching.
And not S fan.
No.
Oh yeah. Okay. That one's.
I was actually watching
who do you watch? Sorry.
Well, when Tony was playing AJ, I was always watching. And I was watching him do because he was like a demon when it came to chases. So I always liked watching that. I don't know. I watched a lot of the cop POVs. When Moon was playing Lenny as a cop, I was watching a lot of him doing chases and everything. I've watched Shiesty, a lot of McNulty, especially because I like the way he like interacts with people as he's catching them. But yeah, and Bay. I watched Bay as well. But it's been fun. I actually want to make a cop character pretty badly, but I feel like
you should
for a while. Well, the thing is, I want experience in chases, but that would mean getting chased all the time, which because I'm a new driver, I'd get caught all the time. and my character's not trying to get caught all the time. And I'm not against her taking L's occasionally, but then it goes against her trying to stay in the shadows. It doesn't fit with like the storyline she's going for. So I was thinking, okay, maybe if I make a cop character and play that a bit, I do get the experience of at least chasing other people, right? I could see where they're going. I could go around, do that, learn the streets. I like really need to learn the call outs and stuff. But yeah, that was a thought.
I have an alternative for you. It's a little bit meta, but you get in contact with the character Raymond Romanoff, and he teaches you about the bike in the bush. An old
we've spoken because Ray, like OOC, we're very chill, and we've spoken about like we need our characters more. Bike in the bush. No, I know. Well,
Habibi, I got a bike always.
I keep getting picked up by other people. Like they keep having me be the VIP for a lot of things, and they would give me, this item from this whatever. And so we have like demonic drivers. We have Octo like driving us out of stuff,
Yeah,
so I'm in a 4-door that he's driving, and then he drops me off to Larry with a bike. So like I'm learning swap spots and stuff, but I'm usually not the one driving. So I'm hoping in the future there's more reason for me to be, getting myself out.
I am so happy I'm not in the crew with Octo. Octo is like an anti-Mickey character. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
He's an anti-cheat. That's what he is.
He got us away from 3 cops in a baller SUV and never swapped. He just drove through the hills and just went crazy with it.
I hate good drivers because they make it so that people are like, well, why would we do a plan if we could just drive? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like he's like
and then I'm on the other side of it because I want plans because I'm like, well, what if Octo dies? What if Octo does get ghost localed and ejected, and then suddenly I have to drive? Then I'm like, oh, like I'm stuck. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I'd love to have even if he does drive us out, at least having the plan sitting there just in case would be good. But Lang is very anti having a plan a lot of the time too. He loves to change things. So I'll be like, you know what? I left my car here, so you can drop me at this place, and I can like run this way. And he'll be like, no, I'll get you out. and then I'm just like, change of plans. Lang's driving us, but it's been funny.
I can hear in Lang's voice him saying, "Oh, we're going to jail."
He says it all the time. He has this whole bit where he keeps telling my character that he is the best getaway driver, not the best racer, but the best getaway driver ever. Yeah, and he was like, "I'll get us out," because there was a day where we didn't have Octo or Tony, and we were doom spiraling because we didn't have any of our drivers. The best driver we had was like, and Lang, that day, and he was like, "Don't worry, Gigi, I'm the best getaway driver. I always get out. I'm the master of this." And I had her just be like, "Okay, yeah," and so he got us out, and now my character like believes he's actually the best getaway driver. He got us out at like crazy odds, and it's just a funny bit because I've watched him drive and eject so many times. But at least
after 7 years, he's gotten better for sure. Yeah, he's gotten better.
Oh, he's good at the strategizing part of it for sure. For like certain things, he'll always pick good. At least in my experience, he'll pick good spots for me to get picked up. He'll if we're on foot, he'll be like, okay, we're gonna go on foot in this area because at least we can run around for a while here, doing these things, and he's good with that, which is good for me to learn because I also can't drive. So like, it's good skill, but God, it's so scary when he takes the wheel and he's like, "I'll get us out," and starts driving.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like, the more I learn about your character, Gigi, the more I'm like, in some ways would get along with Mickey well, but in other ways, oh God, you would not. I don't know if you'd like Mickey plans. That's.
I personally, I'm very in the middle where I do like plans, but I also love the chaos of not having plans. Like I very go with the flow. Both are fine.
Not having plans
as
is
long
fun.
as I know what we're doing. Yeah.
I would load Gigi in my gang. Give her all.
I'd want
Gigi
in my gang. Yeah.
Like there are people that have tried to poach. There are people that have tried to poach. And it's just not happening.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. There are also a lot of gangs that just have no clue who I am or my character because I've kept her so low key. So I've sort of locked myself out of RPing with some people, up until the point where I do become more exposed because my character is just some random nobody, probably a civilian.
Character Mickey doesn't know. I don't think Mickey knows anything about your. Like, I actually think roleplay wise, Mickey doesn't know anything really of what you do.
Yeah, nothing. I think a lot of characters think my character's a doctor. They know that much about her, and they think that that's like her main thing. Because whenever people ask, "What do you do?" she's like, "Oh, I'm a doctor," and then they see her once, so they're like, oh, "Okay, she is." There's a few people that have sussed her out because she did do grime with Tony so much, and they're like, "Okay, well, if she's hanging out with Tony all the time, then she must be a part of whatever is going on over there." But since he's been around a little less, they haven't been seeing that, and so it's been very like hard for people to place. And then only recently have some characters seen her doing some stuff, but all they've been able to confirm is that she does like some farming with some people, and that's it. So
it's like all the time in front of the hospital with Tony with the grime truck.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. They look at that and they're like, "Oh, she must be whatever Tony's doing. She must be doing because we see her with him all the time, But it's been so long that I'm like, I don't know. I feel like at this point she's like a gray area for them. But I also change outfits drastically, like style drastically, to the point where I would always wear those like black glasses and a face mask, and a lot of characters have no idea what her face looks like. Because she wears like the simple little flu mask. People don't ask her to take it off because it's not like a crazy like whole head covering thing. It just feels normal, so they don't really ask her to do that. But realistically, most of her face is like blacked out. So there's a lot of characters that if she just takes the glasses off, they have no clue who she is. And like it's gotten better with that over time, but people that she's not friends with, they just have no clue who she is.
I do have sort of one final kind of question for you because this is usually. Well, by the way, we went at length with this episode. Even just I was gonna say, I have two questions.
Whatever.
The first question, which is will require a short answer. I want to do and I'm gonna now force you to answer this question live right now, which is if we do another roleplay podcast, I want to do an episode that is a heist episode where we actually it's only talking about heists, what we like about getaways, what we don't. I know Ssaab is down for this one.
Yeah.
Would you want to come on the heist episode? Because I feel like you have amazing takes.
Yes, of course.
A live invite.
Love it. Live invite. Yeah, she basically has to say yes or it'd be so awkward. He'd be like, no, I'm actually good at this. I can't
believe he's holding me at gunpoint for this. That's crazy.
Okay, no.
I know.
And secondly, what else are you looking forward to roleplay wise? I mean, you said you maybe were thinking of doing another character, a cop character. What's next for Gigi? Like, what's next for you roleplay wise?
I wanna, the cop character at some point for sure. My goal over time is to have her keep working on, honestly, on hard drugs and things like the cooking aspect. I've had her do a lot with moonshine. That's been really fun. And I find a lot of the biggest streamers don't do a lot of that stuff. They tend to be focused on more of the, drive around, shoot kind of content or something that involves like, a shit ton of yelling at people or whatever. So I'd like to just showcase that more because I've had a lot of newer people come in, especially when I was doing the early moonshine, and they were like, "Oh, this is what this looks like," and I'm like, "This has been out for weeks. You haven't seen this?" And they're like, "No one I watch does this. They all like deliver it here and there, but I haven't actually watched them do it. I don't know how it's made, So I'd like to hopefully showcase a little more of that. I was doing some of that with the farming recently. There'll be like new moonshine stuff and everything that I'll be showing off. So hopefully I can, do
farming
more of that.
Is a lot of fun. It could be a game on its own, basically.
I love it. It is. It's an MMO at that point, right? It's like an MMO mechanic that they kind of threw in, which is fun. It's like Stardew Valley in your little warehouse, raising your crops. I will say it's a bit of a slog. The one negative I have to say about it is that it does it's hard to RP with vegetables alone. Okay, you're basically podcasting to your chat. So if there's something else exciting going on while you're tending to your vegetables, it's like it just is what it is. But I think as it's being figured out, it's great because it's building up to these really fun moonshine runs that are like playing Crazy Taxi. They're so cool. So for me, I'm excited for it. I like it.
Love it. Geega, that is we have kept you here long enough. Thank you for coming on the Roleplay Podcast. This one is called Noobs of NoPixel, but I think you're only a noob in the sense that you're new to 4.0. But as far as your perspectives and the kind of shit that you get involved in, you're
fantastic,
pretty advanced there. I
hope so.
Yeah, honestly.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'll come on anytime. If you want to talk for 6 hours, I will, you know? I love yapping.
We love talking about RP, so
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah.
We will 100% bring you on for. I really want to do like this episode alone made me be like, we have to do just like a full, like get a whole panel of 6 and just talk about Heist and what we love and don't love. Because
Definitely.
I love Heist. So
Me
even
too.
after all these years,
I hope it doesn't get old for me. I feel like it won't. Just the way things are. And I feel like I've seen a lot of other people be into it for so many years that I'm like, okay, I think it is the sort of thing that my brain could stay on.
yeah, I thought that they'll come and go, you know, but there's always something new with them, and there's always, you know, something fun that comes around. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Geega, shout out your channel, Ssaab you as well after that, and then we'll wrap this up.
My channel is twitch.tv/Geega, Geega. I'll probably be playing GTA if you come by, but I am also a variety streamer and I do other stuff here and there. So don't be scared. Don't be alarmed if you show up and I'm playing a roguelike.
Amazing. Ssaab?
Awesome. I am Ssaab, twitch.tv/Ssaab. I play as Captain Slacks, and tomorrow I'll be doing a subathon. I can't wait. My first one in a year.
Ooh, subathon for Ssaab starting tomorrow.
It's capped, though. It's capped, though.
And then I'm Blau, and as a reminder to everyone, I'll spam the link in the chat. This is our channel. You can actually find Roleplay Podcasts on all of your podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but let's be honest, the vast majority of people watch it on YouTube. The way you guys can support Roleplay Podcasts is sub us on YouTube and watch our episodes. We do, sorry, I have to do this shout out at the end. We do stuff like is playing a criminal in NoPixel worth it? We did the clown episode with Valkyrie and Chatterbox. We've done several Noobs of NoPixel episodes, and we will have more, including, as we just discussed with Geega, a Heist episode. Who knows when that will come out, but more stuff coming from Roleplay Podcast. Thank you all so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.